Hare Krishna.
Chant.
सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदेक सत्फल सर्वसिद्ध
सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नार्थं
एकदत्तदा सर्वभागवत
सर्वभागवतप्राणं श्रीमद्भागवतप्रभो
कलिदान्तो दिदादित्या श्रीकृष्णा परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाटनाय प्रेम भक्षरायते सर्वंदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मदेकबंधो मत्संगिन् मद्गुरु मन्महाधना मन्निष्ठारक मद्भाग्या मदानंदा नमोस्तुते असाधु साधु तदाइन अतिनीचोचितारक हनामुंच कदाचिन्मा प्रेम्नारुत्कण्ठयो स्फुराम् पादो यदीयो प्रथम द्वितीयो तृतीयो तुर्यो कथितो यदुरु नाभीस्तभा पञ्चमेव षष्ठो भुजान्तरं दोर्युगलं तथान्योन् कण्ठस्तु राजन्नवमो यदीयो मुखारविन्दं दशमं प्रफुल्लम् एकादशो यश्च ललाटपट्टं शिरोऽपि यद्वादशेव भाति नमामि देवं करुणानिधानं तमालवर्णं सुहितावतारम् अपार संसार समुद्र सेतुं भजामहे भागवतस्वरूपम् भजामहे भागवतस्वरूपम् भजामहे भागवतस्वरूपम् हरे कृष्ण वन्दे
So today will be the last class for the Bhakti Vaibhava. You have to prepare for your exam. So yesterday we were discussing about Krishna's spiritual universal form and the material universal form. It started with Jakruhe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibihi. Krishna appears with Mahat Adibihi. Adi means etc. Mahat means Mahat Tattva. Krishna appears. And in the whole way, the spiritual, the material universal form is created. Spiritual universal form are the three Purushas. You should understand it very nicely. So when Lord appears in this Brahmandas, there are less intelligent people who look at this universe and they think this is the Rupa of Lord. That is how this Virat Rupa is only imaginary. It's just imaginary. But when Lord shows his Virat Rupa, it's up to him. He can show, I am Rudra, I am Indra, I am Maru. In this way, he can show. So that is the Rupa which he has shown to Arjuna. Again, that is, he's showing the entire universal form. It's up to him when to show. One is imagination, one is up to Krishna to show. When Krishna showed, that form is eternal but temporary. It is not that it is existing. It is just a temporary form which Krishna showed. What Krishna showed? Krishna showed the entire universe. Krishna showed the 14 planetary systems. The 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we have found it. We have seen that. Where Krishna shows that I am this demigod, I am this, I am this. Krishna shows how the fire emanates from him. All these things Krishna shows. But anyhow, the less intelligent people, when they see this universal form, material universal form, they consider this to be the form of Krishna. They relate it. Like how just seeing a sky, the less intelligent people relate the blueness of the cloud to the sky. Sky is not blue. Cloud is blue. They relate that cloud's color to sky. Air is not dusty. Air contains dust. But they relate it immediately to the air. So relating a property to Lord, simple. Relating the attributes to Lord, that is less intelligence. In fact, the qualities are coming from Krishna. It is not relating the attributes to Krishna. The Sat is Brahman, Chit is Brahman. No, Brahman has these qualities, Sat, Chit, Ananda. So we had yesterday enough discussion on this. Now, 33rd verse. We'll start with the 33rd verse. Before that, we also saw that how beyond now the Mahat Tattva expands into two, that is gross and subtle. This gross contains earth, water, fire, air, ether. Man, buddhi, ahankar is subtle. Now, beyond even gross, there is something subtle. And this subtle form, man, buddhi, ahankar, is the cause for repeated births that has been given. Prabhupada little bit expands more in that. Beyond even subtle, beyond even gross and subtle, there is an original spiritual form for a jiva. Every jiva has an original spiritual form. Now, Prabhupada is speaking about the most subtlest thing, where the jiva has to go outside even this subtle body, man, buddhi, ahankar. There is also a part of Mahatattva, Pradhana, three modes of material nature. That means a jiva has to cross even these three gunas and attain the transcendental nature. That's how in the purport Prabhupada speaks about that beyond even this, there is a spiritual form. That is also unheard. That is also unseen. Here Srila Prabhupada speaks about when a person is sleeping, though the body is not active, the soul is present. That is why we say the gross body is there and the subtle body is also there. But when the soul leaves the body, gross body is now useless, but subtle body is there. The subtle body is covering the soul. And because of the subtle body, it takes variety of births. Now, when the soul crosses even this subtle body, then it can get that original spiritual form. 33rd verse. Yatre me sadasatrupe प्रतिषिधे स्वसंविदा अविद्ययात्मनि कृते इति तद्ब्रह्म दर्शनम् यत्रे मे सदसद्रूपे यत्रे मे सदसद्रूपे प्रसिद्धे स्वसंविदा अविद्ययात्मनि कृते इति तद्ब्रह्म दर्शनम्. Mohit Prabhu, you read, I'll read after. I'll repeat
Hare
after.
Krishna Mataji. Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna. यत्रे मे सदसद्रूपे
यत्रे मे सत् असद्रूपे
प्रतिषिद्धे स्वसंविदा
प्रतिसिद्धे स्वसंविदा
अविद्ययात्मनि कृते
अविद्यया आत्मनि कृते
इति तद्ब्रह्म दर्शनम्.
इति तद्ब्रह्म दर्शनम्. Now the same thing has been spoken here. Yatre me sad asadrupe. Whenever all the sad and asad, sat, asad. What is the sat asad? Gross and subtle body has been told. Sat, asad. Gross and subtle. Don't go with sat means of truth, asat means not truth. No, sat, asad. Which is seen, which is not seen. Simple. Sat, asat. Yatre me. Whenever the sat, asat rupe, prasiddhe samvidha, pratisiddhe. When it is completely nullified, that means now that identification with even the man, buddhi, ahankar and the three modes of material nature is not there. It's completely nullified. One has crossed this subtle and the gross body. That means one's mind is now completely purified. His intelligence is also completely purified. His ahankara is also completely purified. It's not now mithya ahankara, it's satya ahankara. It can happen only by self-realization. You should understand this. What is the meaning of nullified? How to cross even the subtle body? Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. It's simple. Don't get so much complicated with the English words. It is just simple. How it is nullified? Nullified means how a person is not identifying with the gross. Okay, one is not identifying with the gross. But even the mind should not be contaminated. How it can happen? Only by self-realization. Self-realization means realizing I'm servant of Krishna and acting accordingly. So now swasamvida. That means by self-realization only it can happen. Then what will happen? Avidya. Because of this ignorance, what happened? Atmani krute iti some iti Brahma darshanam. Because of the ignorance, we forgot. But now Brahma darshanam can happen only when we come out of this ignorance, and this ignorance can be completely nullified. This ignorance can be completely nullified only by self-realization. So what is ignorance? Identification with the gross or the subtle body. That has been given. And at that time, he can see himself and as well as the Lord. Brahma Darshanam. Here, Brahma Darshanam, Brahma also refers to Brahma Darshanam, Lord and himself also. Jiva Brahman, understanding our identification, we can see that. At that time, he has come out of all his ignorance. Ignorance at the level of mind, ignorance at the level of body, ignorance at the level of intelligence, ignorance at the level of ahankara. That is identification. Everything has come out just because he can see himself and Lord. That means he is able to understand his relationship to Lord. See how sweet is this verse. Yatre me sadasadurupe pratisiddhe swa samvida. Swa samvida means by self-realization. Okay. Mohit Prabhu, please read the verse.
Yes, Mataji. Purport. The difference between self-realization and material illusion is to know that the temporary or illusory impositions of material energy in the shape of gross and subtle bodies are superficial coverings of the self. The coverings take place due to ignorance. Such coverings are never effective in the person of the personality of Godhead. Knowing this convincingly is called liberation or seeing the absolute. This means that perfect self-realization is made possible by adoption of godly or spiritual life. Self-realization means to become indifferent to the needs of the gross and subtle bodies and to become serious about the activities of the self. The impetus for activities is generated from the self, but such activities become illusory due to ignorance of the real position of the self. By ignorance, self-interest is calculated in terms of the gross and subtle bodies, and therefore a whole set of activities is spoiled life after life. When, however, one meets the self by proper culture, the activities of the self begin. Therefore, a man who is engaged in the activities of the self is called Jivan Mukta, or a liberated person even in the conditional existence.
Okay. Now continue, finish of the whole thing.
Okay. This perfect stage of self-realization is not attained by artificial means, but under the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He is present in everyone's heart, and from Him only all knowledge, remembrance, or forgetfulness take place. When the living being desires to be an enjoyer of material energy, illusory phenomena, the Lord covers the living being in the mystery of forgetfulness, and thus the living being misinterprets the gross body and subtle mind to be his own self. And by culture of transcendental knowledge, when the living being prays to the Lord for deliverance from the clutches of forgetfulness, the Lord, by His causeless mercy, removes the living being's illusory curtain, and thus he realizes his own self. He then engages himself in the service of the Lord in his eternal constitutional position, becoming liberated from the conditioned life. All this is executed by the Lord through either his external potency or directly by the internal potency.
So in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, it has been clearly said why these two forms are not situated in the Paramatma. Paramatma is also there, Shri Vishnu is also there in this universe. Why then these two forms are not there for Lord? Subtle form, gross form, Mahad Adivihi has come along with Mahad Adivihi. Mahat Tattva. Why then these two, gross and subtle, are not covering Lord? Because he is not ignorant. Why it is covering a Jiva? Because Jiva is ignorant of his position with Krishna. Only when he is self-realized, this coverings go out. Because both are eternal. Jiva is also eternal, Lord is also eternal. Why is it that Lord is not covered? Somebody can ask this question. Why Lord is not covered with these two forms? When Lord appears, it is not that he has a gross body and a subtle body. Lord's body is completely transcendental. It is just because of ignorance, these two attacked us. And what is the meaning of ignorance? Forgetfulness of our relationship to Krishna. The moment we forget, this identification with the gross body and the subtle body will always be there. मेरा मन नहीं मान रहा. And what मेरा मन नहीं मान, मत मानो. That means too much of importance to the mind. मेरा बुद्धि भी नहीं मान रहा है. Sometimes we talk about on the platform of buddhi, on the platform of man, that has not been entertained at all. When a person comes out of this, then only he can purify. How he can do that? How he can come out? Just by self-realization. That means complete surrenderance to Krishna and understanding our relationship. And that person is Jivan Mukta. That is why this verse is very important. Iha yasya harer dasya. Open 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Where you find this verse, or you can see the quoted verses behind Bhagavad Gita book, quoted verses. Iha yasya harer dasya. Karmana manasa gira. Nikhilashapi avasthasu jivan mukta suchyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu speaks. But Prabhupada has quoted in Bhagavad Gita this verse. Iha yasya harer dasya. Jivan muktaha. In this lifetime itself, you don't have to give up the body to become Jivan Mukta. See the verses quoted behind. How to select the verse immediately? Quoted verses. It is somewhere in the 6th chapter. Find out. Bindu Mataji quoted verses behind the scene.
Is it coming in the purport, Mataji?
Yes, that is why quoted verses. They are not the verses of Bhagavad Gita. They are the quoted verses of Bhagavad Gita.
Then it is coming in the fifth chapter. The
5th chapter or 6th chapter. Just find out. First, you improve your this. You improve the quality of your speaker.
11th verse.
Huh? Yes.
5th chapter, 11th verse.
5.11 Mataji.
Yes, 5.11. Somewhere in the 5th chapter. Yes. 5.11. What is that verse speaking? Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikhila shapi avasthasu jivan muktasa uchyate kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyairapi yoginha karma kuruvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. What has been given? Kayena manasa buddhya. With the body, with the mind, with the intelligence, kevalahi indriyahi api. So one has to purify. How? Abandoning the attachment. Kuruvanti. When it can happen. Abandoning the attachment. Kuruvanti sangam tyaktva. Atma shuddhaye. And this is done for the purpose of purification. He abandons the attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification. Kayena manasa buddhi. So if he is doing that, then what is the verse quoted from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira nikhila shapi avasthasu jivan muktasa uchyate. Within this lifetime, he is liberated. He is not attached with the mind, intelligence, and the senses. So within this lifetime, he is Jivan Muktaha. Next verse. Yadyesho parata devi maya vaisharadi matihi sampanna eveti vidur mahimni sve mahiyate. Yadyesho parata devi maya vaisharadi matihi sampanna eveti vidur mahimni sve mahiyate. Bindu Mataji, you read, I will chant.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yadyesho parata devi
यद्येषोपरता देवी
माया वैशारदी मती
माया वैशारदीमती
संपन्न एवेति विदुर
सम्पन्न एवेति विदुर्
महिम्नि स्वे महीयते.
महिम्नि स्वे महीयते. So now, यदि एषोपरता देवी, mute the phone. Mute the phone. यदि एषोपरता देवी, so uparataha devi maya is illusory energy, devi maya. So devi maya, when it is completely subsided, how vaisharadi, when a person is full of knowledge, matihi, that means when he is enlightened, sampanna, when he is enriched with enlightenment and is full of knowledge, then devi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratya. Krishna says devi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratya mamevaye prapadyante maya etam tarantite. Same verse is this. When a person is surrendered to Krishna, then maya etam tarantite, devi maya, he subsides or he crosses this devi maya. See how Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are related or not? So Bhakti Shastri becomes very fruitful and meaningful when a person does Bhakti Vaibhava. Understand? Bhakti Vaibhava means studying Bhagavatam. Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durata, my Maya. Devi Maya becomes, a person can subside, that means cross the Devi Maya only when he is enlightened, and enlightenment is dependent on our surrenders to Krishna. Mamevaye prapadyante, when you surrender to Krishna, that has been given. So here Sampannaha, he is full of knowledge, he is enlightened. What is enlightenment? He understands his relationship and he understands that he is servant and he acts accordingly. Sampanna eveti vidur. Now he is cognizant. That means he understands. Mahimni sve mahiyate. And in this way, he is situated in his own glory. And what is the glorious position of the soul? The soul is always servant of Krishna. There can be none other glorious position than this. We like to be awarded by so and so. We like, okay, when we get award, we show so many people. What can be the best gift or the best award or the best glorious thing? Understanding our position that I am servant of Krishna, there can be no other glorious position than this. If a person is completely enlightened with this, that I am servant, I just have to serve Krishna. When we say Krishna, immediately 5 aspects. Chanting the holy name of Krishna, loving Krishna's form, qualities, devotees, his lila. When you have all these 5, understand you are sampannaha. That means you are enriched. You have all the opulence when you have all these 5 things. You have the attraction for the holy name. You have attraction for his holy, you're serving his form. Now there are 5 types of forms of Krishna. Para, Vyuha, Avataraha, Paramatma, and Archa Vigraha. So if a person gets an opportunity to serve Archa Vigraha, automatically it reaches Para. Vyuha are the 4 quadruple expansions. Anyhow, we are going to do that also now. How Krishna's different incarnations. And it reaches even avatars. You serve Archa Vigraha, it reaches all the avatars. Also, it reaches Paramatma. So, the most easiest way to reach to all other forms is by serving Archa Vigraha. That is why Lord comes in this beautiful, wonderful, compassionate form to accept service from us. That is why Asahaya Rupa, he appears as if he is just dependent on us. Asahaya Rupa. But most Karunya Rupa is Archa Vigraha form. So that is more glorious. So purport. Okay, Khanna Prabhu. Or let Bindu Mataji only finish off with the purport. Read the purport and the next verse you can do. Okay, Bindu Mataji too.
Hare Krishna. Because the Lord is the absolute transcendence of all of his forms, names, pastimes, attributes, associates, and energies are identical with him. His transcendental energy acts according to his omnipotency. The same energy acts as his external, internal, and marginal energies, and by his omnipotency, he can perform anything and everything through the agency of any of the above energies. He can turn the external energy into internal by his will. Therefore, by his grace, the external energy which is employed in illusioning those living beings who want to have it subsides by the will of the Lord in terms of repentance and penance for the conditioned soul. And the very same energy then acts to help the purified living being make progress on the path of self realization. The example of electrical energy is very appropriate in this connection. The expert electrician can utilize the electrical energy for both heating and cooling by adjustment only. Similarly, the external energy, which now bewilders the living being into continuation of birth and death, is turned into internal energy by the will of Lord to lead the living being to eternal life. When a living being is thus graced by the Lord, he is placed in his proper constitutional position to enjoy eternal spiritual life.
Yes. So now there is a verse which speaks. Everything is dependent on Krishna, even to make us understand. Vaisharadi, this word, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, what is the meaning of Vaisharadi? This actually refers to Krishna. Vaisharadi, very nice word, Vaisharadi. This refers to the Lord who is very, very skillful, Visharada. We say that he has got Visharada. There are certain qualifications given. He is Visharad. He is Hindi Visharad, Sanskrit Visharad. That means he is very skillful. He is master. In understanding what? Even Krishna is Visharad. He is understanding that what is beneficial to my devotees. Only he knows that. Whatever is beneficial to the devotees, he will give that. Devotees don't have to think a lot. Krishna knows what is beneficial to the devotees. And at that time he sees, okay, this Jiva wants to see me. I'll allow him to see. I will allow him to see me. And in this way, this merciful desire of the Lord appears. He is so merciful at that time, his merciful desire arises. And thus he acts. It is said there is no other way. One has to wait for the mercy of Krishna. Somebody can say, oh, I am doing so much of preaching. I should see the Lord. Oh, I hear so much. I have joined Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava. I don't know Bhakti Sarvabhauma. What I'm going to do? I have to know the Lord. There is a verse. 1 minute. So there is a word in Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad also, Mundaka Upanishad also speaks this verse, where Prabhupada is, where it is very clearly said, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyas. Nayam Atma. I will not be seen by any amount of pravachana. You do any amount of pravachana. Whole day you sit and do pravachana. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhya. Na medaya na bahuna shutena. By our intelligence, na medaya. Na bahuna shutena. I may hear a lot. Not necessary that I can see Krishna. Very clearly Krishna says. What did Krishna say? Nayam Atma. Ayam Atma. That means your relationship with me, Brahma Darshanam, that means seeing you, seeing me, Nayam Atma, Pravachanena Labhya, Na Medhaya Na Bahuna Shutena. Then how can I see Krishna? How can I understand my relationship to Krishna? How can I see me and Krishna? How can I see Krishna? How can I understand my relationship? Krishna says, Yameva Isha Vrunate Narabhyas, Tasyeisha Atma Vrunate Tanuswam. Yam Eva Isha Vrunute Tena Labhya. Krishna says, this Vrunute means it is very concealed. Yesha, this knowledge is very concealed. Tena labhya, it is very, very concealed and also very difficult to understand. But tasyesha atma, esha atma, myself, or this science of self, vivrute tanuswam. Vivrute means I reveal this form by my own will. Tanuswam, swam means by my own will. So that is why Vaisharadi word refers to Visharada, to Krishna, who is very expert in understanding the benefit of the devotees. And in this way, he allows the jiva, and your devotees are also jivas only, he allows the jiva to see him. That has been given. So that is why Krishna very nicely tells in Bhagavad Gita, Mameva ye prapadyante. One who surrenders, Krishna showers the mercy. And again, it is up to Krishna when to shower the mercy. We cannot demand, we just have to wait. And Krishna will show the mercy. Next. Evam janmani karmani yakartur ajanasya cha varnayanti smakawayo veda guhyani hrutpate. Evam janmani karmani yakartur ajanasya cha varnayanti smakawayo veda guhyani hrutpate. Okay, Khanna Prabhu, you read, I will also.
Okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna Katha. Evam janmani karmani
Evam janmani karmani
ya akurtur ajanasya cha
ya akartur ajanasya cha
ajanasya cha varnayanti smakavyo
varnayanti smagavayo
veda guhyani hritpatehe.
medaguyani hridapataye. Okay. Evam janmani karmani, my activities. But they are now describing. Who are describing? Kavayo. Kavayo means learned person. What they do? Evam janmani karmani ya akartur ajanasya cha. Lord is inactive. That means he is not having any material activity. Even a jiva is also inactive. Jiva also doesn't have any material activity. Jiva is also unborn. Lord is also unborn. So now, this is very difficult to understand. Undiscoverable by the Vedas. It is not even discovered by the Vedas. Veda Guhyani. It is very mystical thing, even to understand that Lord has no work. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Where is it quoted? Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Open Bhagavad Gita quoted verses. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Krishna doesn't have any work. No material work. Quoted verses. That's why keep Bhagavad Gita with you. Whenever like this comes, you should understand. Krishna doesn't have work. Which is that verse which is quoted? Natasya karyam. I don't have any work. Karanam cha vidyate. Where is it quoted?
3.22.
3.22. Open 3.22. See how expert you all have become now. 3.22. Krishna clearly says, I don't have any work. Name parthasti kartavyam. I don't have any work. Where in that the verse is quoted, Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Krishna very clearly says, I don't have any work. Name parthasti kartavyam. Trishu lokeshu kinchana. Actually, I don't have any work. I don't have any prescribed work for me. I am not there in any 4 Varna ashramas. Only 4 Varna ashramas, they have prescribed work. Why I don't have work? But I don't want anything. I don't need anything. Nor I have any need to obtain anything. But still I am doing, just to show an example. Just to set an example. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samascha bhyatikas cha dishyate, parasya shakti videva shruyate, swabhaviki jnana balak kriya cha. Everything happens how? By my own potencies. My potencies are there to do the work. Why should I do the work? I just lie down and I'm just glancing at Mahatma. You just see what Krishna is doing. Krishna is just sleeping. But how is it happening? What is Karanadaksha Vishnu doing? He is just lying on the causal ocean and looking. By looking, everything is happening. How is it happening? Because of his multifarious energies. Krishna's energies do the work. And what does Krishna do? Krishna gives that energy to the energies. So Krishna's energies do the work, and Krishna is giving that strength. Just that much only he does, nothing. It is his strength. His strength are his energies. And those energies, parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate, and they do the work. Krishna is just lying and glancing, and with a sweet smile, half open eyes, always ready to sleep, but not sleeping. Because if he sleeps, then what will happen? That's why he doesn't close the eyes, half eyes open. So now here, such a person who is so inactive, now he's taken birth, and he is ajanma. He doesn't have any birth, but still it seems that he's taken birth. It seems that he is active. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam, evam yo vetti tattvataha. If a person knows my janma and karma, then he doesn't have to come back again. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha taktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sojane. Doesn't have to come back. So that person is a lord of the heart. This can be applicable even to the jivas also. Actually, jivas also don't have any material worth just because of ignorance. And that ignorance is forgetfulness of our position with Krishna. Why Krishna only should be enjoyed? Why he should only be the controller? Why not I? That is the time ignorance covers the purified consciousness. And that is how it becomes contaminated. So though Lord and the Jivas are completely spiritual, what happened? The ignorance covered the living entities. Okay. Read the purport, Kanna Prabhu.
Purport. Both the Lord and the living entities are essentially all spiritual. Therefore, both of them are eternal, and neither of them has birth and death. The difference is that the so-called births and disappearances of the Lord are unlike those of the living beings. The living beings who take birth and then again accept death are bound by the laws of material nature. But the so-called appearance and disappearance of the Lord are not actions of material nature, but are demonstrations of the internal potency of the Lord. They are described by the great sages for the purpose of self-realization. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord that his so-called birth in the material world and his activities are all transcendental. And simply by meditation on such activities, one can attain realization of Brahman and thus become liberated from material bondage. In the Shrutis, it is said that the birthless appears to take birth. The Supreme has nothing to do, but because he is omnipotent, everything is performed by him naturally, as if done automatically. As a matter of fact, the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his different activities are all confidential, even to the Vedic literatures. Yet they are displayed by the Lord to bestow mercy upon the conditioned souls. We should always take advantage of the narrations of the activities of the Lord, which are meditations on Brahman, in the most convenient and palatable form. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So, Lord is not born, yet he is born. Ajanma, Ajanmi means Aja, but still he is born. Ajayamanuho Bahuda Vijayati. Not being born, still Lord appears as many, Bahuda. Mahanarayana Upanishad speaks about this. Ajayamano is Ajanma, but still Bahuda Bijayate. He appears in different forms. We are seeing so many avatara forms, this form, that form. So Shruti says, Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate. Krishna doesn't have any material activities. Shvetashvatara Upanishad speaks about this. So his nature, how is his nature? He is endowed with all knowledge and strength. Automatically it happens. He said, but one also sees birth and actions of Jiva, who also have no birth. Now Jiva, let us see the Jiva. Even Jiva also doesn't have, it is completely spiritual. But then Jiva also doesn't have any birth, no material actions. So Jiva's birth and actions are also related. But what happened? It is now related to matter. Why it got related to matter? Because of ignorance. But when Lord appears, it is not related to matter. Lord is beyond matter because Lord is endowed with knowledge and complete strength. So that is how this is very Guhya Tattva. Vedas speak about this. And that is how the Jivas are different. And that is why Jivas are compared as inferior energy of the Lord. Or you can say they relate themselves to matter. Though paropi manute anartham, they are relating themselves to matter. That is how, though marginal potency of Lord, they get attracted to the inferior aspects of Lord, inferior energy of Lord. In this way here, Ritpate, Krishna is described as Ritpate. He is Paramatma, seated in the heart. So it indicates that universal form is not considered among the avatars since it does not reside in the heart. Who is residing in the heart? Krishna. Krishna is residing in the heart as Paramatma, and all his avatars are there in Krishna himself. His universal form is not residing in the heart. That is why it is not considered as one of the avatars. In the avatars, do you have universal form mentioned? No. When we say avatars, universal form is not there. You have all the 6 categories of avatars, but Virata Rupa is not mentioned because universe is not residing in the heart. You are residing in the universe. Universe is not residing in your heart. So Paramatma is residing in the heart. Paramatma has all the avatars. Paramatma is residing in this universe also. Yet Paramatma is not affected by the matter that has been described. There is a difference between a Jiva and Krishna. Though Janma Karma doesn't affect both Jiva and Krishna, but what happens when the Jiva is covered with ignorance, Janma Karma is related to the Jiva. So technically it should not be related, but it is related. Okay, next verse. Savaidam Vishwam Amoghalila Sujat Yavati Yatina Sajjate Asmin Bhuteshu Chan Tarhita Atmatantraha Sadvargikam Jigrahati Sadgunesha Sava idam vishvam amogalila Sujat Yavyati Yatti na sajjate smin Bhuteshu chantarhita atmatantraha Shadvargikam jugrahati sadguneshah. Okay, Gadi Mataji, chant after me. Sava idam vishwamamogalila
Sava idam vishwamogalila
Sujjatyavatyatina sajjatesmin
Srijatyavatyatina sajjatesmin
Bhuteshu chantarhita atmatantra
भूतेषु चान्तर्हितात्मतन्त्र
षड्वर्गिकं जिगृहति षड्गुणेशः
षाड्वर्गिकं गृहति षड्गुणेश
सवा विश्वम अमोघ लीला सह means the supreme lord. Amogha Leela, how is his activities? His activity when he appears, this manifest in this manifested universes, Vishwam. Now we are talking about the avatars, no? That is why we have to also understand when Lord appears, his activities are not contaminated by this matter. Because we are speaking about the avatars, when Lord is appearing, Saha Va idam Vishwam, in this Vishwa, when Lord appears, Amogha Leela. How are his activities completely spotless? He cannot find any flaw in that. Even when he creates Sujati, Avati, Avati means, Sujati means creation, Avati means maintenance, Ati means annihilation. Sujati, Avati, Ati, na sajjate. It is not at all affected. It is not at all affected by any of the material things. And then he is not affected, or his activities are also not affected. Bhutesh sajjati asmin. Now bhuteshu cha antarhita. Now he is residing in everyone's heart. Bhuteshu antarhita, living within. Still, how is he? Atmatantraha. He is always independent. He is residing in your heart. That doesn't mean that you have bound him or you have closed him. But we can bind him. How? By devotion. It is not that he has been engaged. No. He is completely independent. Shadvargikam. Shadvargikam means he has all the 6 opulences in full. We say no, shad. All shad opulences. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasashriyah, Jnana Vairagyascheva, Shannam Bhaga Itingana, Jigrahati Shad Guna Ishaha. Jigrahati. So in this way, Jigrahati means superficially he is attached, just superficially. To whom? He is actually the master of all the 6 senses. We have 6 senses. We have eyes, we have nose, knowledge gaining senses, we have working senses, we have man. Actually, we have 10 important senses, but 5 knowledge gaining senses we can say, and 1 man. That is why 6 senses. He is a master of our 6 senses. He is superficially just attached, like the fragrance. It is here. It has been like smelling the fragrance. And when you are smelling the fragrance, you feel that the fragrance is entered. It is not entered. You're just smelling. It is not attached. It is like superficially attached. When you have some fragrance, you feel that you are attached to this fragrance. Superficially attached. Artificially attached. Though he is residing in the heart, he is controller of our 6 senses. He is completely independent. He is superficially attached with us. Superficial. Attached because he, you can say, how you can say this attached? Attached means you feel that, oh, he is there as the observer. Yes, he is there. Everything is there. But he is not affected. When you say attached here, a person is not affected. He is not affected by the matter where he is residing. The jiva is affected in the matter where he is residing. The jiva starts identifying with the matter. But Paramatma, who is residing in everyone's heart, does not get attached, does not get affected. That has been. Okay. Gadi Mataji, read the purport.
Hare Krishna. The prime difference between the Lord and the living entity is that the Lord is the creator and the living entities are the created. Here, he is called the Amog Leela, which indicates that there is nothing lamentable in his creation. Those who create disturbance in his creation are themselves disturbed. He is transcendental to all material afflictions because he is full with all six opulences, namely wealth, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And thus, he is the master of the senses. He creates these manifested universes in order to reclaim the living beings who are within them suffering threefold miseries, maintains them, and in due course annihilate them without being the least affected by such actions. He is connected with this material creation very superficially, as one smells odor without being connected with the odorous article. Non-godly elements, therefore, can never approach him despite all endeavors. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Let us see what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes. We're speaking about the beautiful qualities of Krishna. The first important quality is he has unlimited power. And Shadvargikam, he can sense out all the six sense objects also. He senses the six sense objects. He is not attached to anything. There are sense objects. He is a master of senses also. He is a master of sense objects also. He is not affected. In this way, he is the master of the six auspicious qualities. Aishwarasya, Viryasya, Yashasa. Thus, he experiences happiness arising from these six qualities. Okay. Let us see 37th verse. न चास्य कश्चिन्निपुणेन दयितो न चास्य कश्चिन्निपुणेन दातु अवैति जन्तु कुमणीष ऊतिः नामानि रूपानि मनोवचोभिः सन्तन्वतो नट चान्याम् इवाज्ञः न चास्य कश्चिन्निपुणेन धातु अवैति जन्तु कुमणीष ऊतिः नामानि रूपाणि मनोवचोभिः सन्तन्वतो नट चार्याम् इवाज्ञः. Okay, Vrindavan Lila Mataji, read the verse.
Hare Krishna.
I'll read behind you.
Okay, this time I won't forget. न चास्य कश्चिन् निपुणेन धातु
न चास्य कश्चिन्निपुणेन धातु
अवैति जन्तु कुमनीष ऊतिः
अवैति जन्तु कुमनीष ऊतिः
नामानि रूपाणि मनोवचोभिः
नामानि रूपाणि मनोवचोभिः
सन्तन्वतो नटचार्यम् इवाज्ञः
सन्तन्वतो नटचार्याम् इवाज्ञः. Okay. Now, see one word is there, Kumanisha, poor fund of knowledge. A person with a poor fund of knowledge, what happens? He cannot understand. What he cannot understand? He cannot understand this creator. Avaitihi, na avaitihi. He cannot understand. Na avaitihi. So he cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Manaha vachobhi. So what he tries to do, he tries to speculate with his so-called intelligence. He tries to speculate on the activities of Lord. So such people are actually foolish people. They're compared to fools. So now Krishna is playing like an actor in the drama. Avatar means acting, appears in different forms. Like when you have some mask, it is actually an actor. The person is an actor. So he appears like an actor. So this person is going on speculating. Why? He has poor fund of knowledge, though seems to be very intelligent, but he is not intelligent. That is why na asyaha kaschin nipunena, even if he is nipunaha, if he tries to think that I am very expert, but he cannot understand that creator, dhatu. Very difficult to understand that creator. And especially his activities, utihi, you cannot understand his activities, namani, his names. Very difficult to understand his names, his forms, rupani, just by the dint of mental speculation. Santavantaha. Santavantaha means santanvataha. Santanvataha means he's displaying. He's acting like an dramatist, like an actor. So that is why they cannot understand anything. Neither by their words, they try to speak, but they cannot understand about him. By their words, they cannot understand, or manaha vachobi. Both things are given. Mana means mental speculation. Vachaha means by their speech. Both by these things, they cannot understand. Who cannot understand? Person with a poor fund of knowledge, who are trying to analyze by their words or analyze by their mental speculation. They're trying to analyze Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's leelas. They cannot do that. Okay, read the purport.
Hare Krishna. No one can properly describe the transcendental nature of the absolute truth. Therefore, it is said that he is beyond the expression of mind and speech. And yet, there are some men with a poor fund of knowledge who desire to understand the absolute truth by imperfect mental speculation and faulty description of his activities. To the layman, his activities, appearance and disappearance, his names, his forms, his paraphernalia, his personalities, and all things in relation with him are mysterious. There are two classes of materialists, namely the fruitive workers and the empiric philosophers. The fruitive workers have practically no information of the absolute truth, and the mental speculators, after being frustrated in fruitive activities, turn their faces towards the absolute truth and try to know him by mental speculation. And for all these men, the absolute truth is a mystery, as the jugglery of the magician is a mystery to children. Being deceived by the jugglery of the Supreme Being, the non-devotees, who may be very dexterous in fruitive work and mental speculation, are always in ignorance. With such limited knowledge, they are unable to penetrate into the mysterious region of transcendence. The mental speculators are a little more progressive than the gross materialists or the fruitive workers. But because they are also within the grip of illusion, they take it for granted that anything which has form, a name, and activities is but a product of material energy. For them, the Supreme Spirit is formless, nameless, and inactive. And because such mental speculators equalize the transcendental name and form of the Lord with mundane names and form, they are in fact in ignorance. With such a poor fund of knowledge, there is no access to the real nature of the Supreme Being. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is always in a transcendental position, even when he is within the material world. But ignorant men consider the Lord one of the great personalities of the world, and thus they are misled by the illusory energy. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So this illusionary energy, it is making a person speak some speculative words or think something, a type of speculation, tries to speculate on the activities of Lord that has been given. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments about this. First line itself, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he cannot be understood by material knowledge. By our intelligence, material intelligence, Krishna cannot be understood. Here, Nipunena, somebody is very expert in Dhyana or Yoga, still he cannot understand. It is not by one's expertise one can understand. One is Nipunena can be also told Krishna is very expert. His expertise cannot be understood. Somebody can say, even I am expert. Okay, then still you cannot understand Krishna. Then Kumanisha Jantaha. Kumanisha means they are ignorant people. They cannot understand Putihi, Krishna's name, forms. That means who is devoid of bhakti, they just have material intelligence, they don't have bhakti. Such people are affected by the illusory energy of Krishna. Kumanisha also refers to a person having a very bad intelligence. Is it a Kuma, where this word Kuma comes, Kumanisha, bad intelligence. The Lord broadcast, Santavantaha. Santavantaha, here what was the meaning given, Santavantaha? What is the meaning given, Santavantaha? He is acting. He is acting as a dramatist. That means what is he doing? Acting means what is he doing? He is coming and displaying, he is broadcasting. He is broadcasting. Santavantaha also refers to his broadcasting. His own name and forms. He comes and broadcasts. And that is all his mercy. But an ignorant person cannot understand. That has been given. Okay. Next verse. 38th verse. Save dadatu yadavi padavim parasya save dadatu padavim parasya duranta viryasya rathanga panehi namayaya santataya nuvrittaya bhajet tatatpada saroja gandham save dadatu padavim parasya duranta viryasya rathanga panehi yo mayaya santataya nuvrittaya bhaje tatatpada saroja gandham. Aruna Mataji. How beautiful are the verses. When the day will come, that is why Hanamuncha kadachinna premna kantayospara. When the day will come, all these verses will be there in our kantha. Every word, every verse, every word in the verse is so beautiful. Okay, you chant and I will chant.
Save Dandot Pranam. Save dadatuhu padavim parasya.
Save dadhatu padavim parasya.
Duranta viryasya rathanga pane.
Duranta viryasya rathanga pane.
Yo mayaya santataya nuvritya.
Yo mayaya santataya nuvrittaya.
Bhaje tatatpada saroja gandham.
Bhaje tatatpada saroja gandham. Very important verse. Who can see Lord then? In the previous chapter, in the previous verse, the word Kumanisha has been given. Kumanisha means bad intelligence. Then who are the people with good intelligence? One who is rendering unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service. Let us see word to word. Saveda Dhatu. Who can know him? He alone can be known. He is a creator. His glories, that is Padavim. His transcendental position, Parasyaha, very difficult to be known. Duranta Viryaya. He is such a great personality. Rathangapani. He has taken the wheel in his hand. Rathangapani is holding the wheel in the hand. And what is that wheel? Even if he takes the wheel of the chariot, Sudarshan enters. So that is why he always holds Sudarshan. When he is Rathangapani, it seems that he has held the wheel of the chariot, but actually he is holding Sudarshan. Rathangapani. Yada Mayaya Amayaya. So without reservation, without any gap, Santataya, whoever is favorably serving him, without reservation means what? Unmotivated. Santataya, uninterrupted. So that was the answer also. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshate ahaitukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. Same thing has been spoken. Already the answer has been given. But now again the emphasis is there. Who can know him? Because so many avatars. Okay, we want to know about Leela avatar. And so many asankhya rupas has been spoken. But then how to know these things? How to know these avatars? Then for that, what is important? Without any reservation. That means ahaituki, amaya, santata, uninterrupted, apratihata. Only that person, whoever does like this, anuvrittaya, favorable devotional service, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. There's also another verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is that verse? Anya abhilashita shunya. Jnana karmadya navrutam. So Jnana karmadya navrutam. Previous verse was speaking about Jnana karma. Give it all this. Jnana karmadya navrutam. Anukulyena Krishna anushilam bhakti ruttama anukulyena. So in anukula bhava, bhajate, render service. Whom? To whom? Tadupada saroja gandham. His lotus feet has the fragrance of the lotus. We'll say, I've always tried to smell the lotus. Lotus has no smell. Now, the material lotus has been given this position, you see, because the most beautiful flower is lotus. Now, Krishna's lotus feet is compared to a material flower of this world, just because this flower is unaffected by the water around. So, whoever is unaffected by the conditions he has been put, that person is also like Padma Patram Ivambasa. In Bhagavad Gita we have, how should be our consciousness? Padma Patram Ivambasa. Then Krishna says, I identify myself with that person. I keep him in my heart. Sadhavo Riyammayam Sadhona. I identify myself, or I allow him to be compared to me. Krishna allows Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. Krishna allows that person to be compared. Like we see our Guru like God, allowing him to be compared like God, but he is a representative of God. Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. Shastras say that. Why? Because the spiritual master is endowed, the self-realized soul is endowed with that knowledge of complete surrenderance and complete service. So Krishna says, I allow him to see me. That is why tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashyena sevaya upadakshanti tenyanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Who is a tattvadarshi? Who is serving in these two ways, a pratihata and a haituki. Okay. Aruna Mataji, read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Only pure devotees can know the transcendental name, form, and activities of Lord Krishna due to their being completely freed from the reactions of fruitive work and mental speculation. The pure devotees have nothing to derive as personal profit from their unalloyed service to the Lord. They render incessant service to the Lord spontaneously without any reservation. Everyone within the creation of the Lord is rendering service to the Lord indirectly or directly. No one is an exception to this law of the Lord. Those who are rendering service indirectly, being forced by the illusionary agent of the Lord, are rendering service unto him unfavorably. But those who are rendering service unto him directly, under the direction of his beloved agent, are rendering service unto him favorably. Such favorable servitors are devotees of the Lord, and by the grace of the Lord, they can enter into the mysterious region of transcendence by the mercy of the Lord. But the mental speculators remain in darkness all the time. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord Himself guides the pure devotees toward the path of realization due to their constant engagement in the loving service of the Lord in spontaneous affection. That is the secret of entering into the kingdom of God. Fruitive activities and speculation are no qualification for entry. Hare Krishna.
So those who are rendering service to the illusory agent of the Lord, that means those who are serving this Maya, indirect service, but how it is unfavorable. It's not favorable to see Lord. This illusory energy is also the Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya. It is Krishna's Maya only. So somebody is serving the illusory energy. He is also serving Lord, but how indirectly and how it is Pratikula Bhava. It is not Anukul Bhava. Now, 39th verse. Atheha dhanva, atheha dhanya, bhagavanta itham, yadva sudeve akhila lokanathe, kurvanti sarvatmakam atma bhavam, nayatra bhuyah parivarta ugraha. Atheha dhanya, bhagavanta itham, yadva sudeve akhila lokanathe, kurvanti sarvatmakamatma bhavam, nayatra bhuya parivarta ugraha. Maybe next week onward, because the classes are not there, maybe once a week we can have just chanting of the verses. Do that. And this way, suppose somewhere you are stuck up, you are not able to understand the verse. By that time, you should study nicely. We'll do in this way. I don't want to leave you alone in struggling with the verses. So we can do all the verses which has to be memorized. All those verses again. And little bit of some few verses which are important verses also we can do. Maybe once a week. By the time we'll be ready with all the portions, you know, of what is this verse speaking about. At least you go through. And then we will take some verses. Maybe next Friday, so we have a lot of time to study. We'll not schedule it like Tuesday, Thursday. We can make it next Friday. Atheva dhanya bhagavanta itham yadva sudeve akhila lokanathe, kurvanti sarvatmakama bhavam nayat prabhuyah parivarta ugraha. Okay, Madhvi Manjari Mataji, start. I'll chant behind you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, धन्यवाद.
Today video of
Ate-
sleeping hour.
No, I'm not Mataji.
Okay.
Ateha dhanya bhagavanta ittam
Ateha dhanya bhagavantamitham
yadva sudeve akila lokanade
yadva sudeve akhila lokanathe
kurvanti sarvatmakamatma bhavam
kurvanti sarvatmakamatma bhavam
nayatra bhuya parivarta ugraha.
nayatra bhuyah parivarta ugraha. So let us see. Atha iha, in this world, iha dhanyaha, dhanyaha. Who can be successful? Who is very successful? Vasudeve akhila lokanathe kurvanti. Who is having that inspiration to know about him? That means he's inquiring to know about him. Sarva atmakam, 100%. Atma bhavam is a complete ecstasy Nayatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha. He doesn't have to take again birth. Now here, what is the meaning? He is kurvanti. That means he is inspired to know about Lord. So to know about Lord, what will he do? He will inquire. So the inquiries made by Shaunakadi Rishi has been appreciated again. What was that first answer? Your very questions are benefiting everyone. Your very questions are very so wonderful that it is going to do good for everybody. It is the most beneficial thing. So that has been given here. Yaha atha iti atha iha. In this world, who is a successful person? Bhagavanta itham yad vasudeva. Itham means such inquiries about him. How we can know this inquiry word has come? Kurvanti. This word. Akhila Lokanathe. One is he is a proprietor. He is all embracing. He is a proprietor. Vasudeva is a proprietor. Then that person who is eager to know about him, that person is successful. At the same time, that person is perfectly cognizant. So here, let us see. Ateha Dhanya. Here, Suta Goswami is telling to Shaunakadi Rishi. O men of knowledge, you are most fortunate in this world. Why? When people are concentrating their minds on Krishna by asking such questions, then what happens is Ugra. This word Ugra has come. Parivara Ugraha. Na yatra bhuyaha parivarta ugraha. They don't have to take this repeated birth and death. Na yatraha. Bhuyaha means again and again. This repetition doesn't happen just because he has inquired about Krishna. So an inquiry about Krishna is so wonderful. For that, there is no time and space. Anytime you can inquire. You should always be eager to inquire. This inquiry extends the topic or elaborates the topic more. That's why Prabhupada always has a system of any questions. Why? Because those questions elaborate the topic. It gives an opportunity to hear more and to speak more. It is not to prove how much intelligent we are. No, it is just to get an opportunity to speak more about Krishna. Okay. Okay, read the purport, Madhvi.
The inquiries of the sages headed by Saunaka are herewith praised by Suta Goswami on the merit of their transcendental nature. As already concluded, only the devotees of the Lord can know him to a considerable extent, and no one else can know him at all. So the devotees are perfectly cognizant of all spiritual knowledge. The personality of Godhead is the last word in absolute truth. Impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, Supersoul, are included in the knowledge of the personality of Godhead. So one who knows the personality of Godhead can automatically know all about him, his multipotencies, and his expansions. So the devotees are congratulated as being all successful. A cent% devotees of the Lord is immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death.
So Bhagavantaha, this word refers to the sages. Oh sages, you are very, very knowledgeable. When we say Bhagavan, Bhagavan means one who is very fortunate. Ati Bhagyavan. Why he is all knowledgeable? Bhagavantaha refers to the sages who also have knowledge about Krishna. Though the sages there, Shaunakadi Rishi, they are thinking, actually, what to do? We don't have any bhakti. We have only become an object of criticism because we were so much engrossed in these ritualistic sacrifices. But they're inquiring about Krishna, Sarvagya Vekti Vidyam Avidyam Sacha Chasa Vachu Bhagavan. It is said, you have inquired about Krishna. It is not so easy even to inquire about Krishna. You have inquired. And Bhagavan, he has complete knowledge. He knows. He knows knowledge also, he knows ignorance also. That means that is the meaning of Bhagavan. What is the meaning of Bhagavan? Bhagavan, Vidyamcha Yastad Veda Ubhyam Saha. You have studied in Ishopanishad. What you have studied? Vidyamcha. He should know what is knowledge also, what is ignorance also. Vidyamcha Yastad Veda Ubhyam Saha Vidyam Mashrute. Amrutam Ashrute. Vidya gives Amrutam. Avidya only gives, it's a poison. Avidya is only a poison, which is only destroying us. But who is a Bhagavan? One who knows what is Vidya, what is Avidya. At the same time, who is Bhagavantaha? He has a knowledge of everything. So here, Bhagavantaha refers to, he is a very knowledgeable sage. Now, such knowledgeable sage is a knowledgeable sage. Now, that knowledgeable sage can get bhakti just by surrendering to Vasudeva. Now, understand it now nicely again. Bhagavantaha yet is not categorized as an advanced devotee. He is knowledgeable, no doubt. But he can become advanced by asking about Krishna, by surrendering to Vasudeva. Sarvatmakam Anubhavam, Atmabhavam. How? Completely surrendering to that Vasudeva. Then that knowledgeable sage, when you say sage means Muni. Muni means we have learnt about Muni in second chapter Bhagavad Gita. Where in second chapter Bhagavad Gita we have studied about Muni. Who can tell? Muni means one who have different opinions. In second chapter Bhagavad Gita, Muni. Open, after 52, search out. Where is this word Muni coming? Nirukta Dictionary speaks about Muni. I have given the clue, it is in second chapter. Open your Bhagavad Gita book and just see in the purport, Muni, khatakar, open and see.
Is it
56.
256?
56.
Sitadir Muniruchate.
Yes. We'll see whether it is there or not. See the purport.
Yes.
It is there?
Yes, Mataji hai.
Very good. What is given in that? What is there? What is the meaning of Muni?
Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for
Very intelligent, na? Is agitating his mind in different mental speculations. Nasavarushiriyasya matam na bhinnam. What happens? Now still he is not Sitadhir Muni. We are not talking about Sitadhir Muni. It is just this Muni. Same thing has been given here. This person is very knowledgeable. Bhagavantam. He is knowledgeable. But his intelligence will be fixed up only when he surrenders to Vasudeva. Then his knowledge also becomes fixed up. Sthitadhir Muni. One is Muni, one is Sthitadhir Muni. That has been given. Because the sages, they were actually absorbed in doing many ritualistic activities. So they feel that, oh, we are the object of criticism. Then Sutta Goswami says, no, your very question itself. This is so wonderful that it will actually stop the repetition of birth and death. Just you have to surrender completely to Krishna, Vasudeva. Just because your inquiry is also to Vasudeva. And Sarvatmakam 100% Atma Bhavam. 100% just surrender to him. Anyhow, they are surrendered. But still they feel that they are not surrendered. Then again the upaya is given. Oh Bhagavantam, oh knowledgeable people, just completely surrender to Krishna. And this inquiry of yours itself is so wonderful that has been given. Okay. Now 40th verse. We have studied this verse, the glorification of Bhagavatam. This verse also we had taken. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puran. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Uttama Shloka Charitam. Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi. Nishreyasaya Lokasya. Dhanyam Swastyayanam Maha. Very, very beautiful description about Bhagavatam. Idam Bhagavatam Nama. Idam Bhagavatam Nama. This is the Bhagavatam Nama. The name is Bhagavatam. Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Uttama Shloka Charitam. What it is having? All Uttama Shloka. Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi. Nishreyasya Lokasya. Dhanyam Swasti Ayanam Mahat. Sanjay Prabhu. Sanjay Prabhu is there or not? Okay. He's not there. Okay, Raksha Mataji, you chant and I'll chant.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Uttam Shloka Charitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Chakara Bhagavan Rishi
Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi
Nihishreyasaya
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Nishreyasaya Lokasya
Dhanyam Swastiyanam Mahat.
Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. Okay, let us see. Idam Bhagavatam Puranam. This Bhagavatam, what it is, what it has, it is Brahma Samhitam. It is actually incarnation of Krishna. This Bhagavatam, when we are holding Bhagavatam, actually we are holding whom? We are holding Krishna. Incarnation of Krishna. Idam Bhagavatam. That is why it is said the house which does not have Bhagavatam is the most inauspicious. The house which has Bhagavatam, Krishna is residing in Bhagavatam. Nice marketing, no? But this marketing should be done. Then we'll stop all other faltu marketings. This is the best marketing and it happens during Patra Purnima, where we should say everybody should have Bhagavatam in their houses. We'll say everything is there now in the, what do you call? The computers, everything is there. But then how are you going to do Namaskar and all? How will you do? How will you worship Bhagavatam? Everything is there in the computer. Online, everything is there. Available, everything is there. E-books are there. But then making Lord reside in the houses. That is, Bhagavatam should be there in everybody's house. Who is not having Bhagavatam, just raise hand. I'll give you a set of Bhagavatam. Who is not having Bhagavatam in their house? Mohit Prabhu, do you have?
I have, Mataji. You have given me already.
Very good. Vimala Mataji is having Bhagavatam. Very good, wonderful. Everybody is having. So who is not having can contact. Nice marketing. Idam Bhagavatam Purana. Idam Bhagavatam Nama. This is Bhagavatam Nama. Purana Brahma Samhitam. Lord himself. Actually, when Bhagavatam comes, I still remember when Bhagavatam came, we just kept all and we did worship of Bhagavatam. The 12 cantos which has been made into 18 books by Srila Prabhupada. Nothing but the form of Krishna. When we had given this year Bhagavatam to somebody in Kalyan, they gave 100 rupees and fruits and so much of prasadam to the one who brought post, that to the courier person. They made him sit down and then told, oh, you have carried Krishna and come. See that bhava was more important. He was just a courier person. Courier charges were given by us. But that person gave specially another courier charges, gave peda and all those things, and then worshipped him first. That you brought Bhagavatam for us. So this is the bhava, this is the right bhava, and Krishna appreciates. So idam bhagavatam nama, Puranam Brahma Samhitam, Lord himself. Why Bhagavatam contains Uttama Shloka Charitam. One of the name of Krishna is Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka means one who is glorified by the choicest of the choicest words. Or whatever words you glorify Krishna. Like I am not so good in the languages. But even if we are using some languages here and there, not so master, we are not English masters. But still, there may be some flaws, there may be some mistakes in glorifying. But still, Krishna accepts any word you use for Krishna. Abhaddavati. What was it? Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo. What is that verse? Open the verse. Why I should give all the verse? You open the verse. Tadvag visargo. Two verses which Narada spoke. Nayatra hamsa.
तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताग विप्लवो यस्मिन्
Prati shlokam abhyuttavati api. Even if it is abhyuttavati, maybe it is not having some meters and grammatical, you can say some usages. But still, abhyuttavati api, because it is glorifying Krishna, namani anantasya yashwankitani shruvanti gayanti gunanti sadhavaha. So everybody loves to hear and sing Krishna's name. Abhaddavati api, that has been. So as Uttama Shloka, he can be glorified by any words. Every word becomes Uttama Shloka. And those who are very knowledgeable, they glorify Krishna with the choicest of the choicest words. So this book contains, what is Bhagavatam? Krishna himself contains the Charitam of Uttama Shloka. Chakara Bhagavan, Chakara. Bhagavan, Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi. This Rishi, which Rishi? Vyasadeva. Who is he? He is also Bhagavan, one of the avatara, Vyasa. What did he do? Chakara. Chakara means he has compiled. Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi. Nishreyasaya. Nishreyasaya. That means for the ultimate good. Nishrey. Nishrey. Where did we read this? Nishrey. Open the first question. Nishreyasaya. What was the first question? What? Open. Somewhere we have read, so we should know where we have read.
तत्र तत्र पञ्चायुष्मन् भवता यद्विनिश्चितं पुंसाम् एकान्ततः श्रेयस् तन्न संशितुमर्हसि. First question, Mataji.
Yes. Tatra tatranjusayushman bhavata yad nishchitam pumsamekantah shreyas pumsamekantah shreyas nishreyasaya. What was asked? Shreyas tanna shamsitumarhasi. So nishreyasaya means this is the ultimate good. What is the ultimate good? The very question itself is ultimate good. Previous verse speaks about it. Your very question itself is about Krishna. That shows that you are not ordinary Bhagwantam. You are not just ordinary knowledgeable person. You consider yourself like that. But your very question is about Krishna. That is why you will come out of this birth and death cycle. And in this way, it is for the ultimate good of Lokasya, Nishreyasyaya Lokasya. Dhanyam. Dhanyam means Dhanyaho. Everybody is becoming, everybody is successful. Dhanya. The one who is asking is successful, one who is hearing is also successful. Swasti Ayanam. All blissful. Swasti Ayanam. See how all Ashirvad is coming. Whoever studies Bhagavatam, how he should study Bhagavatam under the care of another Bhagavatam. So Bhakta Bhagavat, Grantha Bhagavat. That is anyhow going to come now. So Swasti Ayanam Mahat. So this is going to give the perfection in the life, and also it is all This one. Okay, read the purport.
हाँ Mataji. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless sound representation of all Vedic knowledge and history. There are selected histories of great devotees who are in direct contact with the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna and is therefore no different from him. Srimad Bhagavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Thereby, we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. As God is all light, all bliss, and all perfection, so also is Srimad Bhagavatam. We can have all the transcendental light of the Supreme Brahman. Shri Krishna, from the recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, provided it is received through the medium of transparent spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya's private secretary Srila Swarupa Damodar Goswami advised all intending visitors who came to see the Lord at Puri to make a study of the Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. Person Bhagavatam is the self-realized bona fide spiritual master, and through him only can one understand the lesson of Bhagavatam. In order to receive the desired result, one can derive from the study of the Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to be derived from the personal presence of the Lord. It carries with it all the transcendental blessing of Lord Shri Krishna that we can expect from his personal contact. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai ho.
Bhakta Bhagavad Grantha Bhagavad. Srila Prabhupada is always present in Bhagavatam. That is how Prabhupada is teaching us Bhagavatam in a very, very simplified way. So, see the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is always present in Bhagavatam. So, Bhakta Bhagavad Grantha Bhagavad. And Sarudvamadar, who is Lalita Sakhi himself, says everybody should study Bhagavatam under the care of Bhagavatam. So now, study Bhagavatam under the care of Bhagavatam, under the care of Bhakta Bhagavatam. Study Bhagavatam, Grantha Bhagavatam. Tadidam dhrayayamasa.
Mataji, no voice.
Tadidam grahayamasa. Grahayamasa. How it has been given here? Grahayam asaha. So it has been done, this Sandhi Vigraha has been done like this. Grahayam asaha. Tadidam grahayamasa. Sutam atmavatam varam. Sarva vedeti hasalam. Saram samudritam. Okay. Angel Mataji. Angel, unmute yourself.
Tadidam
Tadidam grahayamasa. It is actually in English, if you see, grahayam asa. So then you have to not do the Sandhi Vigraha like that. Grahayamasa.
Tadidam
Tadidam grahayamasa.
Sutam atmavatambaram.
Sutam atmavatambaram.
Sarva vedeti hasanam.
Sarva vedeti hasanam.
Saram samudritam.
Saram samudritam. Lord Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is who? Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shaktai Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. Actually, when we start chanting the Bhagavatam, first we have to glorify Vyasa. This is the verse which glorifies Vyasa. Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shaktai Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. So let us see who is Vyasa. First, let us start with Vashishta. Vashishta's son is Shakti. Shakti's name comes in Ramayana. He is there in the kingdom of Janaka. So, Vyasam Vashishta Naptaram Shaktahi. So, Shaktahi Pautram Akalmasham. He is Shakti's Pautra. How? Shakti's son is Parashara. Parashara's son is Vyasa. So, write like this. Vashishta, Shakti, then Shakti's son, Parashar. Parashara's son, Vyasa. So, he is Shakti's Pautra. Pautra means grandson. Shakti Pautra. Parasharatmajam Ajam. That means he is the son of Parashara. Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim. Now his son is Vyasa's son is Sukadeva Goswami. So in this way, whole thing is coming. So such a 5 things you should understand. That is Vashishta, Shakti, Parashar, Vyasa, Vyasa's son, Sukadeva Goswami. So we have to chant this verse whenever we start Bhagavatam. When we sit on the Vyasasana, first thing we have to chant is this. Vyasam Vashishtanaptaram Shaktahi Pautram Akalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Sukatatam Taponidhim. Okay. So now Vyasa, what did he do? He gave to his son, Shukadeva Goswami. And who is Sukadeva Goswami? Tad idam Ghrayam Asah. He made it to accept. To whom? To his son. He gave this to his son, Sutam, to his son, Sukadeva Goswami. He is Atmavatam. He is a self-realized soul. Varam. He is most respectable among the self-realized souls. Sukadeva Goswami. Sarva Veda Itihasanam. So what did he do? Sarva Veda Itihasaha. So Vedas, Itihasas, Puranas, Saram. What did he do? He removed the essence. Now, tell me what was that second question of Shaunakadi Rishi? Open. We are not going to forget second chapter, right? We have to give exam now.
Mataji, Bhurini Bhuri Karmani.
You have heard that? Bhurini
Yes,
Bhuri Karmani.
Shrotavyani Vibhagasha. Atah Sadotra Saram
Saram. See, try to link it.
Yes, Mataji.
Then you can enjoy Bhagavatam. If you don't link, then it will be like dry study. Saram.
माताजी मैंने समुद्रुत्या शब्द देखा तुरंत मैंने भूरी निकाल लिया.
भूरिनी भूरि कर्माणि श्रोतव्यानि विभागशः अथ साधुत्वे सारं samudritya manishaya samudritya taken out. Samudritya. What has been taken out from the itihasas, from the Puranas? What has been taken out? Saram, cream has been taken out. That cream is Bhagavatam. And where did he keep this cream? In the lips of, or in the tongue of Shukadeva Goswami. Who is a parrot? Now the cream is tasting more sweeter than when the cream was with Vyasa. Cream was with Vyasa, but now it has come in the lips of Sukadeva Goswami. So Sukadeva Goswami When Sukadeva Goswami speaks Bhagavatam, it tastes more sweeter. So this is a cream. And when it is coming in the lips of Nigamakalpataror Garitam Faram Shukamukha Dravamruta Samyutam. Now it is in the Sukamukha, it is in the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. So it tastes more sweeter. That has been the Saram Saram. Vedavyasa gave it to his son. What did he give? The essence of all the scriptures. And that Saram is going to benefit everyone. Who read this verse now? You read.
Angels.
Who read this verse now?
Angel Mother.
Angel. Angel, read the purpose. See, this is all what to do. Manda buddhi. Forgetfulness. Pride alpaisha satya. Kalavasmin gejana. Manda samanda matiyo. Manda bhagipad. Read, Angel.
Men with a poor fund of knowledge only accept the history of the world from the time of Buddha or since 600 BC, and prior to this period, and all these things mentioned in the scriptures are calculated by them to be only imaginary stories. That is not a fact. All the stories mentioned in the Puranas and Mahabharata, etc., are actual histories, not only of this planet, but also of millions of other planets within the universe. Sometimes the history of planets beyond this world appears to such men to be unbelievable, but they do not know that different parts are not equal in all respects, and that therefore some of the historical facts derived from other planets do not correspond with the experience of this planet. Considering the different situation of different planets and also time and circumstances, there is nothing wonderful in the stories of the Puranas, nor are they imaginary. We should always remember the maxim that one man's food is another man's poison. We should not, therefore, reject the stories and histories of the Purans as imaginary. The great writers like Vyasa had no business putting some imaginary stories in their literature. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, historical facts selected from the histories of different planets have been depicted. It is therefore accepted by all the spiritual authorities as the Mahapurana. The special significance of these histories is that they are all connected with activities of the Lord in a different time and atmosphere. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is the topmost personality of all the self-realized souls, and he accepted this as a subject of the from his father, Vyasdev. Srila is the great authority and the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam being so important, he delivered the message first to his great son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. It is compared to the cream of the milk. Vedic literature is like the milk ocean of knowledge. Cream or butter is the most palatable essence of milk, and so also is Srimad Bhagavatam, for it contains all palatable, instructive, and authentic versions of different activities of the Lord and His devotees. There is no gain, however, in accepting the message of Bhagavatam from the unbelievers, atheists, and professional reciters who make a trade of Bhagavatam for the layman. It was delivered to Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and he had nothing to do with the Bhagavad business. He did not wish to maintain family expenses by such trade. Srimad Bhagavatam should therefore be received from the representative of Sukadeva, who must be in the renounced order of life without family encumbrance. Milk is undoubtedly very good and nourishing, but when it is touched by the mouth of a snake, it is no longer nourishing. Rather, it becomes a source of death. Similarly, those who are not strictly in the Vaishnava discipline should not make a business of this Bhagavatam and become a cause of spiritual death for so many hearers. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that the purpose for all Vedas is to know Him, Lord Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna Himself in the form of recorded knowledge. Therefore, it is the cream of all Vedas and it contains all historical facts of all times in relation with Sri Krishna. It is practically the essence of all history.
And how the churning of the ocean happens, like Vedavyasa also churned the Vedas and the cream came out. When you churn the butter. To remove the butter, you have to churn the curd, isn't it? When you churn the curd, butter comes out. The same way Vedas were churned and wonderful butter. Sukadeva Goswami stands with greed. Oh, nice, tasty butter. Then Vedavyasa feeds that butter to Sukadeva Goswami. Now, Satu Samshravayamasa Maharajam Parikshitam Prayopavishtam Gangayam Paritam Paramarshibihi. Satu Samshravayam Asa Maharajam Parikshitam Prayo Pravishtam Gangayam Paritam Paramarshibihi. Milind Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
chant the verse.
Satu Samshravayamasa
Satu Samshravayamasa
Maharajam Parikshitam
Maharajam Parikshitam
Prayopavishtam Gandayam
Prayo Pravishtam Gangayam
Paritam Parimarshibi.
Paritam Paramarshibihi. Satu Samshravayam Asa. Let us see. Saha means the son of Vyasa. Who is son of Vyasa? Sukadeva Goswami, son of Vyasa. What did he do? Again, Samshravayam Asam. Again, he made it audible. Take it. Whom made them audible to? Maharajam. He has given this to Maharaja. Sam Shravayam Asam. Shravanam. Sampurna Shravanam. To whom? To Parikshitam. That Maharaja is Parikshitam. Prayaha Upavishtam. Who has sat until death without food or water, full of food or drink. Where? On the banks of Gangaya. Parikshit Maharaj, when he comes to know that he has 7 days with him, many options were given by the Devatas. What should be done? What are those activities should be done in these 7 days? He said, I will choose only to hear Bhagavatam. I want to hear about the narrations of Lord. I want to hear that. Many other options also were given. If he does this, then he will reach heavenly planets. And all the Devatas were giving many options. He said, no, let me not take anything. I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat. I just want to sit on the banks of Ganga and hear about the narrations of Lord. Paritam Parama Rishibihi. Then all the rishis, they came to know that he has taken such a vow. Then all the rishis surrounded him. They also sat on the banks of Ganga. And by the will of Providence, Sukadeva Goswami comes there. It was not that the WhatsApp, you're like, I am sitting on the banks of Ganga. Rishibi, where are you now? Oh, rishis, all of you come, and Parikshit Maharaj, please come. No, it's will of Providence. House divine arrangement of Krishna. Parikshit Maharaj comes there. All the rishis are surrounding there. Yeah, he is surrounded by all the rishis. Parikshit Maharaj comes, and Parikshit Maharaj gives this wonderful butter, saram, in a very wonderful audible way. Samshrayamasaha. Samshrayamasaha. That means samshraya. When you are saying shravayamasa, shravayamasa means the most beautiful audible way. Because when you present also, it should be very beautiful also. That is why presentation is very important for a preacher. If a preacher understands this art of presenting, then the subjects becomes more like relishing. Subject itself is very relishing because it's about Krishna. But presentable way, who did? Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami gave in such a wonderful presentation, Samshayamasaha, that all the sages, including his father, was carried away. Suta Goswami was complete in ecstasy. With that ecstasy, he goes to Shaunaka Rishi and he is also giving Samshaya Masaha. He is also presenting in a very beautiful way. So, okay, read the purpose, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All transcendental messages are received properly in the chain of disciple succession. The disciple succession is called parampara. Unless, therefore, Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literatures are received through the parampara system, the reception of knowledge is not bona fide. Vyasdeva delivered the message to Sukadeva Goswami, and from Sukadeva Goswami, Suta Goswami received the message. One should therefore receive the message of Bhagavatam from Suta Goswami or from his representative and not from any irrelevant interpreter. Emperor Parikshit received the information of his death in time, and he at once left his kingdom and family and sat down on the banks of the Ganges to fast until death. All great sages, rishis, philosophers, mystics, etc., went there due to his impersonal position. They offered many suggestions about his immediate duty, and at last it was settled that he would hear from Sukadeva Goswami about Lord Krishna. Thus the Bhagavatam was spoken to him. Sripad Shankaracharya, who preached Mayavadi philosophy and stressed the impersonal feature of the Absolute, also recommended that one must take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, for there is no hope of gain from debating. Indirectly, Sripad Shankaracharya admitted that what he had preached in the flowery grammatical interpretations of the Vedanta Sutras cannot help one at the time of death. At the critical hour of death, one must recite the name of Govinda. This is the recommendation of all great transcendentalists. Sukadeva Goswami had long ago stated the same truth, that at the end one must remember Narayana. That is the essence of all spiritual activities. In pursuance of this eternal truth, Srimad Bhagavatam was heard by Emperor Parikshit, and it was recited by the able Sukadeva Goswami. And both the speaker and the receiver of the message of Bhagavatam were duly delivered by the same medium. Hare Krishna.
Sripad Shankaracharya, he first presented Mayavad philosophy in a very, very, you can say, grammatical way. But then it was just cheating others. Mayavadam idam shastram prapannam bauddham uchyate. Lord Shiva tells, I'm going to come asat shastra. Mayavadam asat shastram. I'm going to give asat shastram. But he is devotee. How can he remain without giving a wonderful description about Krishna? Though he is giving a asat shastra, but then afterwards he says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte San Nihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrun Karani. You will not be protected by this Dukrun. Dukrun means this all flowery languages. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. Just worship Krishna. So even Adi Shankaracharya could not remain without glorifying Krishna. He has come to preach Mayavad philosophy. The body did. Krishna said, what you have done? I told you to give Asat Shastra. What are you singing? Shankaracharya says, I cannot do anything. I have to give. I cannot remain without glorifying you. Then all Krishna's plan became a failure, isn't it? Just by Bhaja Govindam given by Adi Shankaracharya. Krishna's plan was to send him. Okay, you go and preach impersonal philosophy, or you can say a Mayavad philosophy. But he is singing Bhaja Govindam, where very clearly he says, you cannot be liberated or you can never understand. Dukrun cannot rakshitaha, you can never be protected by such flowery languages. Every day night we used to sing Bhaja Govindam. In the south, they will tell to sing Bhaja Govindam, Sri Rangapura. That was our night task. After 8:30, our mother used to say, no, start singing. So night will be singing section. Nowadays, children night means they are studying with their mothers, because mothers go from the office and they come back to the office at 8:30, the children start studying. It goes on till 12 o'clock. In our houses, 8:30, we used to start singing. 8:30, 8:45 means start singing, and then afterwards 9:30, go to sleep. we were having that type of life. Now I am seeing the children, they are not at all singing. What singing? There's only scolding going on, no singing, scolding. Now, what happened to Krishna? Where Dharma, when Krishna goes to his abode, where did Dharma take shelter of? It's the last question of the sages of Sanami Sharanya. Bruhi Yogeshwari Krishne Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Swam Kashtam Adunopete Dharmakam Sharanam Gataha Dharmakam. Where did Dharma take place? He takes shelter of. This is the answer. Krishna Sudhamo Pagate Dharma Jnanadidi Saha Kalau Lashtadrusham Nesham Puranar Padunoditaha. That is why when that verse is spoken, many times when first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is recited by Chakan Prabhu, after this he stops and I say, no, continue. Tell the answer for that, because you should not remain without giving that answer. Even if you chant the first verse of first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, even if you chant, when that last question comes, even if you have not given the answers to any other question, at least give answer to this question. Bruhi Yogeshwari Krishna means immediately you should say Krishna Sudhamo Pagate. If he has gone to his abode, Sudham Abhakate, Dharma Jnana Adivisaha, taken everything, Dharma Jnana Adivisa. Because Krishna is full of knowledge and full of dharma. Dharma means he knows what is religion. And then, if he has gone, then for this Kali Yuga, Kalau Drishtam Nishamesham, Kalau Nashta Drisham, the people's eyesight is completely lost. Today only we were doing Rukmini, letter. Rukmini's letter. Today is Rukmini Dwadashi. The first verse itself, what is there? Who can see? Only a person who has a sight. And who has a sight? Who can see Krishna? Only that person has a sight. If a person is seeing some TV and all those things, is not interested in Krishna, those eyes are compared to owl's eyes. Owl cannot see. They are compared to owl's eyes. So in the same way here, in the Kali Yuga, Nashta Drusham, people don't have a sight. Esha Puranarka Adunoditaha. They don't have sight. It's completely in darkness. This Purana is like Arka. It is a rising or a brilliant sun. Adunoditaha. In this way it has arisen. Okay. Kusumataji, are you with the book? Oh, Usha Mataji, you can read after me. Usha Mataji, unmute yourself.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, read this verse. Lal Chadaki.
Krishne Swadamo Pagate
Krishne Swadhamo Pagate
Dharmo Jnanadibhi Saha
Dharma Jnanadibhi Saha
Kalau Nashtadrisam Esha
Kalau Nashtadrusham Mesham
Puranarko Duno Ditaha
Puranarpadhuno Ditaha. So, Lord is as brilliant. This Purana, Bhagavad Purana, is as brilliant as the sun. And how, when it has arisen, it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, who is accompanied with religion and knowledge, etc. People who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Okay, read the purport, Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna has his eternal Dhamma or abode where he eternally enjoys himself with his eternal associates and paraphernalia. And his eternal abode is a manifestation of his internal energy, whereas the material world is a manifestation of his external energy. When he descends on the material world, he displays himself with all paraphernalia in his internal potency, which is called Atma Maya. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he descends by his own potency. Atma Maya is his form, name, fame, paraphernalia, abode, etc. are not therefore creations of matter. He descends to reclaim the fallen souls and to re-establish codes of religion which are directly enacted by him. Except for God, no one can establish the principles of religion. Either he or a suitable person empowered by him can dictate the codes of religion. Real religion means to know God, know our relation with him and our duties in relation with him, and to know ultimately our destination after leaving this material body. The conditioned souls who are entrapped by the material energy hardly know all these principles of life. Most of them are like animals engaged in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. They are mostly engaged in sense enjoyment under the pretension of religiosity, knowledge, or salvation. They will still they are still more blind in the present age of coral or Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, the population is just a royal addition of the animals. They have nothing to do with spiritual knowledge or godly religious life. They are so blind that they cannot see anything beyond the jurisdiction of the subtle mind, intelligence, or ego. But they are very much proud of their advancement in knowledge, science, and material prosperity. They can risk their lives to become a dog or a hog just after leaving the present body, for they have completely lost sight of the ultimate aim of life. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna appeared before us just a little prior to the beginning of Kali Yuga, and he returned to his eternal home practically at the commencement of Kali Yuga. While he was present, he exhibited everything by his different activities. He spoke the Bhagavad Gita specifically and eradicated all pretentious principles of religiosity. And prior to his departure from this material world, he empowered Sri Vasudeva through Narada to compile the messages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and thus both the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam are like torchbearers for the blind people of this age. In other words, if men in this age of Kali want to see the real light of life, they must take to these two books only, and their aim of life will be fulfilled. Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of the Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the summum bonum of life, Lord Sri Krishna personified. We must therefore accept Srimad Bhagavatam as the direct representation of Lord Krishna. One who can see Srimad Bhagavatam can also see Lord Krishna in person. They are identical. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
So Krishna is sun. Sunrise happens in Mathura. Sunset happens in Prabhash Kshetra. Krishna disappears in Prabhash, Dwarka, Prabhash Kshetra. But when Krishna disappears in Prabhash Kshetra, Krishna again appears as your Krishna appears in Prabhash. Krishna disappears in Prabhash Kshetra. Then Krishna appears as Bhagavatam Purana that has been given. So the devotees, they are compared to Chakravak. There's a bird known as Chakravak. The Chakravak bird, they actually cry at night, but they like to rejoice in the day. Devotees are compared to Chakravak. They always look when the warning your stay muted. So they are compared to Chakravak bird. They're always into Swati Nakshatra. You know Chakravak, what they do? They look at the sky and they always are eager to have that first rains, Chakravak birds, Swati Nakshatra. When that Swati Nakshatra will come, they will not drink anything. They not drink any water. They're always eager to have that first rainwater in the Swati Nakshatra. Those are Chakravak. Devotees are compared to such Chakravak word. They don't want anything to hear. They just want Bhagavatam to be heard. And Krishna disappears from Dwarka, goes to Prabhash, leaves Dwarka, goes to Prabhash. From there he disappears. Prabhashitra. And that is how, that is known as setting the moon. There is a moon set, or we can say sunset center. We have sunrise center, sunset center. When you go to some hill stations, you'll say this is sunrise center, all go there. This is sunset center, there also all go. Sunrise is Mathura, then sunset is Prabhashitra. But then one should not be upset. Chakravak birds are seeing when Krishna will come. Krishna has appeared. How? In the form of Bhagavatam. So here Drisham. So today is Rukmini Dwadashi. So you should know this Drisham word has been used by even Rukmini ji in her love letter to Krishna. 10.52.32 verse. 10.52.37, sorry, 37. Shutva gunana bhuvana sundara shunvatam te nirvishya karna vivare harato angatapam rupam drusham drushimatam akhilartalabam tvayachyuta vishati chittam apatrapam me. So drusham means the object of sight, that is known as drusham. But now the people don't have that, they don't know whom to see. Drusham, Drushimatam. The one who knows to see will see that object of sight, and Krishna is the object of sight. If apart from Krishna he is seeing anything else, that means he is not having a proper vision. Okay, last verse. And first unit will be completed. Tatra kirtayato vipra viparshe bhuri tejasaha aham chadhyagamam tatra nivishtastat anugrahat soham vah shavayishyami yathadhitam yathamati. This is very important word, very important verse. Yathamati, yathadhitam yathamati. Tatra kirtayato vipra viprarshir tejasaha aham chadhyagamam tatra nivishtastat anugrahat soham va shravayishyami yathaditam yathamati. Even this line you should memorize. Yathaditam yathamati. Yathaditam yathamati. Okay. Gyan Prabhu, read after me. Tatra kirtayato vipra
तत्र कीर्तयतो विप्रा
viprarshir bhuri tejasaha
विप्रस्येर्भूरि तेजसा
aham chadhyagamam tatra
अहं चाद्यगमं तत्र
nivishtastat anugrahat
निविष्टस्तत् अनुग्रहात्
soham vah shravayishyami
अहं वा श्रावयिष्यामि
yathaditam yathamati.
यथाधीतं यथामति.
Bhaktani Prabhu, you also chant. Tatra kirtayato vipra
तत्र कीर्तयतो विप्रा
viprarshir bhuri tejasaha
विप्रर्षेर्भूरि तेजसः
aham chadhyagamam tatra
अहं चार्यगमं तत्र
nivishtastat anugrahat
निविष्टस्तत् अनुग्रहात्
soham vah shravayishyami
सोऽहं वाहश्रस्यामि
soham vah shravayishyami
सोऽहं वहश्रायस्यामि
shravayishyami shravayishyami
श्रावयिष्यामि
yathaditam yathamati.
यथाधीतं यथामति.
So when Sukadeva Goswami is chanting, Sutta Goswami is telling this. While he was reciting, O Brahmanas, Vipraha, O Shaunakadi Rishi, when that great Brahman Rishi, Vipra Rishi, when that great Brahman Rishi Sukadeva Goswami was chanting, is so powerful. Bhuri Tejasaha, Aham, I was also attentively listening. I could understand Yadhyagamam. In that meeting, I could understand, and with great attention, Nivishtaha, I could understand only by his mercy. Tad anugraha. He is speaking, I am hearing, and I could understand only by his mercy. Now, what am I going to tell to you? So aham. So I am going to give Shravayishyami. I am going to let you hear Shravayishyami. What am I going to let you hear? Shravayishyami. You see what was there before. Samshrayavayamasa. Shravayishyami. Samshrayavas. Samshraya. Samshravayam. Samshravayam. That means Sukadeva Goswami was completely delivering this to Parikshit Maharaj. Now I am going to deliver. Shravayishyami, I am going to give this. What am I going to give? Yathadhitam yathamati. Whatever I could realize. See, whatever you are hearing, you have to churn the topic. To the extent you are able to realize the topic, then only you should give it to others. Nowadays, the trend is you hear a class, write down the class and just go and vomit it out. No, digest it, hear, digest, realize, and then speak. So it is not that Sutta Goswami made the notes and just spoke whatever Sukadeva Goswami spoke word to word. No, he realized yataditam yathamati. To the extent he has realized, he has given that. So when you give a topic which you have realized, then that will give an impact on others. If you make a notes and just read it out and then finish it off, you are not yet realized. That is why yathadhitam yathamati. This is very important for every preacher of Krishna consciousness. You can only give those things which you have realized. Without realization, just making the notes and going and vomiting out, it will be like afterwards, ha ho gaya. Bahut acha class hua. Very good, wonderful. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. What you have done 1 hour before, you just heard. He has spoken what he has realized. But you just heard, you just wrote it down and you're just speaking. No. First hear, realize, churn the topic, realize, think, and then realize. When you realize the topic, then only you can speak on that topic. Yathad, even Sutta Goswami says, I am only going to give what I have heard and I have realized. Now you're holding your hands and you're standing under a waterfall. You cannot hold everything. Whatever comes in your hand, waterfall is coming at a great force. So the topic of Krishna is coming at a great force from Sukadeva Goswami. He says, to the extent I have held, to the extent I have drunk it. Yathaditam, yathamati. To the extent I have held, to the extent I have drunk. That thing I will give it to you. That has been spoken. Yathaditam yathamati. So I could hear only by his mercy. And in that, he is giving in a great speed. I will give what I have realized. Okay, read. Gyan Prabhu, you read. Only one verse, one. I thought you read and Bhaktani Prabhu reads and I saw only one.
Okay, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
Dandavat Pranam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One can certainly see directly the presence of Lord Krishna in the pages of Bhagavatam if one has heard it from a self-realized great soul like Sukadeva Goswami. One cannot, however, learn Bhagavatam from a bogus hired reciter whose aim of life is to earn some money out of such recitation and employ the earning in sex indulgence. No one can learn Srimad Bhagavatam who is associated with persons engaged in sex life. That is the secret of learning Bhagavatam. Nor can one learn Bhagavatam from one who imprints the text by his mundane scholarship. One has to learn Bhagavatam from the representative of Sukadeva Goswami and no one else. If one at all wants to see the Lord Krishna in the pages, that is the process. And there is no alternative. Sukadeva Goswami is a bona fide representative of Sukadeva Goswami because he wants to present the message which he received from the great learned Brahmana. Sukadeva Goswami presented Bhagavatam as he heard it from his great father. And so also Sukadeva Goswami is presenting Bhagavatam as he had heard it from Sukadeva Goswami. Simple hearing is not all. One must realize the text with proper attention. The word Nivista means the Sukadeva Goswami drank and juice of Bhagavatam through his ears. That is the real process of receiving Bhagavatam. One should hear with rapt attention from the real person, and then he can at once realize the presence of Lord Krishna in every page. The secret of knowing Bhagavatam is mentioned here. No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, hearing, and meeting. But somehow or other, if someone hears with rapt attention from the right person at the very beginning, one can assuredly see Lord Krishna in person in the pages of Bhagavatam. Thus ends the Bhagavad Gita purpose of the first canto, third chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnation. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So in this chapter, different avatars have been spoken, and this page I told to study. This page. Now let us see Swayam Rupa of Krishna. His personal form is Swayam Rupa. Govinda is Swayam Rupa. He has appeared in two forms. Swayam Prakash. Swayam Prakash has again two. Prabhav Prakash, Vaibhav Prakash. This Swayam Rupa, Swayam Prakash. Understand nicely. Krishna, Swayam Rupa. That means he's eternally living in Vrindavan. Swayam Rupa, his Vrindavan form. Now Swayam Prakash, how he wants to now show Swayam Prakash. In two ways he will show. How? Prabhav Prakash. What is it, Prabhav Prakash? Ras Leela, expansions in Dwarka with so many expansions, along with so many 16,108 queens, that means 16,108 expansions. It's known as Prabhav Prakash. Prabhav, technically you can even understand Prabhav means to put an impact. Prabhav Prakash. Everybody is surprised. Oh, so many gopis, so many Krishnas. So many wives, so many Krishna. So Prabhav Prakash. Same. Now, Prakash means to show to everyone. Isn't it? Prakash. What is the meaning of Prakash? To show to everyone, to exhibit. One is Swayam Rupa, which is always there in Vrindavan. That is Govinda, who is always there in Vrindavan. Now he has to show to the people then. He will first show his Prabhav, to whom gopis and the 108 queens of Vrindavan, 16,108 queens of Dwarka, they are known as Prabhav Prakash. One is Vaibhav Prakash. Now what is his Vaibhav? Vaibhav means showing his opulence. Just see, my opulence is Balram. I have only appeared as Balram. Just the color is different. Only his color is different. Vaibhav, showing his opulence. Now, same now Vaibhav Prakash, what he does now. Now, Vaibhav Prakash expands as Tad Ekatmaka Rupa. It is only the bodily features are different. Tad Ekatmaka Rupa. They are one person only, but now appearing in different form. Balram appears in different form. Tadekatmaka Rupa. Now same Tadekatma Rupa has two things. One is Vilas forms. Vilas means, what do you say Vilas? You have to do some Vilas, expansions, Vilasa forms, Vilasa pastimes. And one is Swa Amsha, his own Amsha, Swa Amsha. So in that Vilasa, the first quadruple expansion, they are known as Prabhav. Prabhav Vilas, first quadruple expansion. Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarsha. Then from Vasudev, another 3 comes. That is known as Vaibhav Vilas. In that Vaibhav Vilas, what happens? First is from Vasudev, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava. Then Vaibhav Vilas में 2 comes. Adhokshaja, Purushottama. Then from Sankarshana, Govinda, Vishnu, Sri Madhusudana. You take 12 names. Keshavaya Namaha, Narayana Namaha, Madhavaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. You have 12 names. Now just divide that 12 into 3, 3, 3 and put before Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Easy to remember. Vasudeva. Then what will put next 3? Keshavaya Nama, Narayana Nama, Madhavaya Nama. Over. Now take Sankarshan. Govindaya Nama, Vishnave Nama, or Vishnu you can say. Madhusudanaya Nama, Madhusudana. Then from Pradyumna, Vamana, no, Trivikrama. This is Trivikrama. Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara. Then from Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. So like this 4, 4, 4 have come. From Vasudeva, again you have to write Vasudeva, Keshava, Narayana, like this. Now there is Vaibhav Vilas. For like this 24, now Vaibhav Vilas. For this set of Vasudeva, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, it is Adhokshaja, Purushottama, Vaibhav Vilas. 2 important now incarnation, Adhokshaja, Purushottama. Now Sankarshana, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana. Again, because you are making now quadruple. And each quadruple now you have Upendra, you have. That is Vamana you are having, Upendra. You have Achyuta also. Then Pradyumna, Trivikrama, Vamana, Sridhara, there you have Narsimha, Janardhana. Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara, you have Hari and Krishna. They are all now Vilasa forms. Vilasa forms. Now Vaibhav Vilas are the forms of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshana. Now they are again taking the form Adhokshaja, Purushottama, Upendraha, Achyutaha, Narsimha, Janardhana, Hari Krishna. Sets have become 4, 2. They are all coming in Vaibhav Vilas. In Vilas past tense, one is Prabhav Vilas, Vaibhav Vilas. Prabhav Vilas, just 4. The same 4 now became 6 in Vaibhav Vilas. Whenever Vaibhav means opulence to show, same expands into 6. That is why 6 into 4 becomes 24 forms. Now Tadekatmaka Rupa has Vilasa past tense, Swamsha past tense. This Swamsha appears as 6 important incarnations. Purushavatara, Gunavatara, Leela-avatara, Manvantara-avatara, Yuga-avatara, and then Shakti Avesh Avatara. Okay. Let it go bounces, no problem. At least you will come to know there are certain, these are all the incarnations. Swayam Krishna, Swayam Rupa, then he has to do Prakash, Swayam Prakash. Swayam Prakash, Prabhav Prakash, Vaibhav Prakash. Vaibhav Prakash into Tadekatmaka Rupa, same person appearing in different forms. Vilasa past times, Swamsha past times. Vilasa past times into, first is what? The Prabhav Vilas. Prabhav Vilas is just okay, Prabhav. Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Sankarsana. Then Vaibhav Prakash, 6, 6, 6, 6 in each. Just remember this much. And then afterwards, there Swamsha, 6 categories. This much. Then it will become easy for you to understand, because in this chart it's not so clearly made. I will try to send the chart which I have. This is very, very easy to understand. The chart which I have, which I had studied when I was doing my Bhakti Shastra. This chart becomes more clear, more easy. Their Archa Vigrahas have also been specified. The Archa Vigrahas who are eternally present, like in Mathura, you have Keshava, eternal Murti, Keshava Murti is there. In Jagannath Puri, you have Purushottama. In Prayag, you have Bindu Madhav. In Mandara Parvata, you have Madhusudana. In Anandaranya, you have Vasudeva, Padmanabha, Janardhana. In Vishnu Kanchi, you have Lord Varadaraj. In Mayapur, you have Hari. So they are eternal Archa Vigraha in the 7 continents of this earth. So I'll send this to you all. Okay. Any questions? Vrindavanila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Mataji, how do we perceive Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this chat, Mataji, which we studied just now?
Yuga Avatar, na?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
He's coming in Yuga Avatar, yellow color. Golden.
Mataji, like when we consider him same as Krishna, then why do we call him Avatar?
That is why though Yuga Avatara, but he's Avatari. Chaitanya Bhagavat speaks about this. Though appears like Avatara, but he's Avatari. Like in this 24 incarnation, Krishna appears like Avatara, but he's Avatari.
Yes.
He appears.
Then
Purpose
in one of, sorry,
to inaugurate Sankirtan movement. Wo band kar. To inaugurate Sankirtan movement.
Mataji, in one of the pranam mantras, we say na Panchatattvam Makam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatara. Like, means why should we use Avatara there? Like already people
there is
are...
the Bhaktavatara. The Bhaktavatara is actually this is Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam. Bhaktavataram is for Advaitacharya. Here Panchatattva's have been spoken. Bhaktarupaha is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Okay.
Bhaktavataram is Sadashiva. Sadashiv, that is Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. Bhaktavataram. Bhaktakhyam. Namami Bhakta
Shaktikam.
Bhakta Shakti is who? Gadadhar. Akhyam is who? Shrivas.
Oh. Mataji, one more question. Thank you so much for this. Mataji, when we were talking about the energies of the Lord, like we also have energy, but Krishna is of course the source of energy. Is there another difference that his energies can be separated and personified, like they are persons and they can separate themselves, but in our case we cannot separate our energy, like it's very much the same? Is it so? Like how do we understand it?
Now Krishna's energy appears to be different. Like Durga ji has the personification of the energy. Okay.
Yes.
Now one energy is Durga ji, who is a personification of one energy of Krishna. It appears to be different, but at the same time non-different from Krishna. Like sun rays appears to be different from non-different from the sun. Now we have energy. Now our energy cannot take another form, but with our energy we can do many activities where we can infuse that energy. Like now where to use that energy? Firstly, everybody has an energy which has been given by Krishna. So everybody has that energy, but where to utilize that energy? Now suppose the material-minded person, he is utilizing his energy in construction of a big factory or big malls. So his energy has been seen in this. That is a personification of his energy. But Srila Prabhupada's energy is seen in ISKCON, in different temples. So that is a personification of the energy of Srila Prabhupada. So when you say personification, that means what is the effect? What is the ultimate effect, what you have seen? That is more important. So that effect is different, at the same time non-different. So when you say in Krishna, it is different, non-different. But when you say in a material person, it seems to be different, but it is actually his consciousness over there. That is how it appears to be different. Achintya Abheda Tattva can be only applied for Krishna, not for a person. Because at the same time, I cannot be present there.
Yes.
Wherever I have put my energy, I cannot be present, need not be present. I may be present, I may not be present. So our energies are limited, and with our energies, whatever creation happens, or sub-creation you can say, there also I may not be present. So that is why we cannot compare our energies with Krishna's energies.
Mataji, just one more doubt. Like our body, if we go to see, it's so dirty, and still Paramatma is seated there. He is of course transcendental to all the dirt and contamination. But what about the demigods like Agni, Vayu? We have all of them in us. Why should they be there in us? In such a dirty place.
Yeah, to do the arrangement or to serve the needs and the requirements, to protect the body. Krishna has given certain administrative work.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever Krishna is present, Krishna will give them the protection also. Anyhow, they are in the material world, but they are also unaffected by the dirt of the earthly planets. They are in the Swarga, where they are beyond all this dirt. So when they are present, they are untouched again by the contamination of the body of the Jiva. Now they are present in the hands. Suppose the hand is sweating, they are not affected by the sweat. So Lord intentionally keeps every demigod so that that thing is protected by the demigod. For that, whatever is required, like bangles are worn, because this jingling of the bangles serves or gives pleasure to the particular demigod over there. The whole body is occupied by the demigods, and it is in every place certain things has to be done so that raksha happens. Like Agni Chakra is there, you have to close it, you cannot keep it open. That's why Tikki is put. So all these things are.
Then Mataji, when they are so powerful that they are transcendental to all this
Why they
kind of
dependent on
dirt?
all these things?
No, like how come demons like who are so much under the gunas and all, how come they are able to overcome them and overpower them?
Demigods, though they are powerful, sometimes like Bali Maharaj, why we became powerful? Just because Indra showed disrespect to his guru.
Guru, yes.
So demigods are powerful, no doubt, but sometimes Indra has offensive attitude. Then the power he loses. That is the time. Well, both are born from the same father, Kashyap, Diti, Aditi.
Yes.
Father is the same. Now, but just Diti did not follow the rules and regulations. She gave all the birth to the demons. Now, if they are disrespecting the guru, then they lose their power. That is the time these people power increases. It's also said in the night hours, why the people don't go out. Generally decide not to go out because the negative elements, the demonic power increases at the night. That is why during the night one has to study Bhagavatam and then sleep. Yasyam Vaishriyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhakti Utpadyate Pumsam Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Only Bhagavatam. Krishna book is nothing but the essence of whole Bhagavatam. Again, whole Bhagavatam is like 10th canto is the Ashraya Tattva. The moment you take shelter of Krishna, Shoka Moha Bhayapaha.
When we use the word transcendental, Mataji, like, does it refer to transcendence to gunas, the three gunas?
Yes.
Then when they are transcendental to three gunas, then how come they are erring or falling prey to any negative thoughts or actions?
Who are transcendental to three gunas? Demigods.
Like when we say they are transcendental to contamination, they don't get impure.
Finally, a contamination here refers to not completely they are transcendent. At least this contamination, this earthly planet contamination, the transcendent to the earthly planet contamination. There is contamination in the Swargaloka also. No?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to
Yes,
understand.
yes. So it is not complete transcendental. When you say transcendental means above this, they are above the earthly planet. So earthly planet contamination, they are not affected by the earthly planet contamination. But in all the floating planetary system, there is contamination to some other. The relative.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad.
Anyone else? So study nicely, and then next Friday we can have some question answer sessions also wherever you have doubts, and then we'll try to chant the verses. Okay, and keep it as swadhyay to memorize at least first and second chapter. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Vancha kalpatarubyascha kripa sindhubhyam cha patitanam pavanam